Hello, this is Marcel Stokes. Want to wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. We have a good amount of weather to talk about today, so let's get started. Here's Storm Prediction Center outlook for today. This ballot as of earlier this morning been issued. You see we have a moderate risk of severe thunderstorms over parts of northeastern parts of Nebraska, parts of South and North Dakota, and parts of Minnesota and Iowa. Tornado risk looks most significant over parts of northern Nebraska, south and southeastern parts of South Dakota, where the biggest turning of the winds are, and also can't forget southwestern parts of Minnesota. You can see also there is a slight risk of severe thunderstorms over as far north as the Canadian border, all the way down here into parts of the Oklahoma border, all the way up, once again, stretching up into the Great Lakes, where damaging winds are the main threat. As later on tonight, this will transition more from a tornado threat to a squall line, with brief tornadoes and more of a damaging wind threat. You can also see we have severe not a slight risk, a thunderstorm risk over parts of the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and parts of Kentucky and Virginia, with just afternoon pop-up thunderstorms, but doesn't like anything widespread. Just a few isolated cells over parts of that area, and also a threat risk over parts of the Northeast around New York City, Boston, and parts of looks like possibly Maryland as we get into later in the afternoon, and then just a widespread thunderstorm risk over parts of the Rockies, the Pacific Northwest, down into Texas, Oklahoma, and like the areas I just mentioned, over parts of Missouri and Iowa. Here's the next day outlook. You can see the risk spreads off to the east. The slight risk begins to expand a little bit to the east over parts of the Great Lakes. So Indiana, Illinois will have to begin to worry about this. Even parts of Michigan, which just got slammed a couple of days ago by severe weather, will have to worry about now another round of damaging winds. It's the main threat with these storms, along with large hail, and never can rule out an isolated tornado. The tornado risk seems to be diminishing significantly as we head after the day after today. Here's the day 3. Risk of severe thunderstorms once again around parts, or actually redeveloping over parts of South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, southwestern parts of Minnesota at the risk of your light a little farther south than today's risk, and also a risk begins to fire up over parts of the northeast area, including once again New York City, Philadelphia, around Rochester, Syracuse, New York, Burlington, Vermont, Portland, Maine, Bangor, Maine, and also Caribou, Maine, are those areas in severe weather that are in a threat. Here's the HPC forecast. You can see there's the area low pressure. I was going to actually help fire this up later on today. I see the trigger right here located over parts of Colorado. As this moves moves up to northeast at a very rapid pace, showers and thunderstorms will become a numerous likelihood as we head into later on today. And once again, tornado risk will begin to amplify up as we head into later on this evening. Here's day 4. You can see, here's the next day. You see a dry line begins to exclude off from the system. So as it moves in, it's going to continue to amplify showers and thunderstorms. But look at the warm front over parts of South Dakota down into Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. Below this area is where the most unstable air is, and where the atmosphere is most unstable. So we will see showers and thunderstorms begin to develop across that area, where the biggest threat of severe weather will be. It's right south or right along the warm front. Storms that fire along the warm front will be elevated thunderstorms with more of a hail threat, but they cannot rule out an isolated tornado risk with those cells. As we head into day 5, the system begins to move off to the east. High pressure builds into the southeast, so the southeast will have a big severe weather threat. Will not have to worry about it. But once again, areas around Illinois, and then we'll spread into the Great Lakes, they will have to worry about it. The risk of severe thunderstorms with that area, but once again more of a damaging wind threat. As we head into the next day, you can see it begins to spread out to the east, so parts of the northeast, the Ohio River Valley, will have to worry about the severe thunderstorm risk as we head into that day period. Here's the Cape value model. You can see, look how high these capes are. This light pink you see is about a 95% chance of capes being over 500 kgs, excuse me. Around here is the 1,000 probability, so it's very high. As you can see, we have a good atmosphere conditions for severe thunderstorms, also for over 2,000 to 3,000. Look how high that's going to be, all the way up to south of Minneapolis. So the storm risk is there, so severe weather is a good likelihood today. You need to stay tuned as watches and warnings become an issue for your area. Know what to do if a tornado warning is issued for your area, especially in those areas I outlined earlier. Here's a look at the tropics right now. The tropics are very quiet right now. There's a ton of wind shear right now. You can just see, we have a few thunderstorms developing across parts of the Caribbean right now. Nothing to worry about. You see this shear going on that's killing any storm that tries to organize a part because there's a ton of wind shear aloft right now, and once again, tropical systems cannot form if there is a ton of wind shear. Now, there's been a lot of talk about could we see possibly something developing in the Gulf of Mexico, or the Atlantic coast, or the Caribbean. My answer to that is there is something we're watching, but it's over a week away. It's too early to tell if it's even going to affect land or if it will develop. Now, what the latest thinking is, there's going to be an area possibly of low pressure that develops somewhere in the Eastern Caribbean. In the next few days, that's going to spread over to the Western Caribbean. That little L is where the central low pressure could be in the next few days. Now, after that, it gets critical of where it could head off to. Many models are actually starting to carry it now farther off to the east, and then curving off to the northeast out to sea. Well, actually was saying that a few days ago, and it still is saying it a few days. Now, yesterday, some models were actually carrying this farther off to the west, and then possibly even into the Gulf of Mexico. That was obviously a scary situation a lot of people want to think about. But once again, I said the models are starting to carry it off to the east and northeast. That was as of the GFS and the Euro model earlier this morning and early afternoon. Obviously, this will change. We'll have to keep updating this. But that's just a situation we want you to watch. There possibly is something in the tropics that we're watching. And we'll continue to keep you updated on that potential.